Over the past 20 years, I've noticed these incredibly bright kids in my classroom who learn differently. They have struggled with attention, organization, and social interactions. Teachers today are frustrated that students do not fit the once one-size-fits-all industrial model of classrooms that was the modus operandi for decades. It is our moral imperative as teachers to find a new way to redesign the classrooms to ensure that these students are successful. So the question then becomes, how do we engage and motivate the inattentive? From 2003 to 2007, ADHD diagnosis rose 22%. It is estimated that 10 to 11% of school-age population is diagnosed with ADHD. This has a profound impact into our schools and classrooms. A study from 2006 shows that 20 to 40% of students diagnosed with ADHD are in danger of being retained and or not graduating from high school and receiving a high school diploma. Though it is difficult, we can use brain research to redesign the way that we teach in our classrooms to ensure that not only ADHD students are learning, but that all of our students are learning, and we can address the culture of the 21st century learning. One way that we can redesign our classroom is looking at socialization. Socialization is a huge symptom of ADHD students as they suffer from social isolation. It is estimated that 50 to 80% of ADHD students are considered peer rejected. This is a huge problem in our schools because according to Glasser, the most important need we have is a sense of belonging. And we can't focus on other learning until that need is met. This is also a huge issue because it's one of the major factors for school failure rates. Though it is difficult, we can use brain research to redesign our classrooms and learning so that not only our ADHD students are successful, but that all of our students will be motivated and engaged. People have an innate biological need to interact with one another. Social interaction is actually critical for cognition and learning. Multiple opportunities to interact with teachers and peers deepens understanding of concepts. Using strategic peer interaction with ADHD students has improved grades, organization, and social interaction with peers. Social interaction also improves social skills with students with ADHD. Using cooperative learning, a type of socialization, has shown to build social skills with all students with teamwork and collaboration. This is important because ADHD students need to be learning social skills in context. Currently, many ADHD students are learning social skills in isolation, and research shows that that is not generalizing into other settings. Thus, they suggest that students work on social skills performance in context, and socialization allows students to have that performance. It's also incredibly motivating and engaging to all students. Socialization helps to build that sense of belonging for students, and when students feel valued and safe with their peers, they're more motivated. Think about what you would rather do. Would you rather work in a safe environment where you feel valued with coworkers, or would you rather work isolated, overwhelmed, and stressed? Another way we can redesign our classrooms to better motivate all students is with real-world and authentic problems. A lack of interaction with projects and authentic learning can actually cause apathy in students. The use of authentic constructivism can lead to higher on-task behavior with students with ADHD. Also, when students have this experiential approach, they have higher order thinking skills. The ability to focus and problem solve is greater when you're able to work your prefrontal cortex, such as with authentic problems. Schools desperately need to do this. Right now, we're not preparing our students well for 21st century learning. In fact, 85% of schools are still functioning on low-level questioning. Experiential learning allows students to build background knowledge and to develop connections with concepts and ideas. Traditional classrooms expect students to use prior knowledge and make connections by themselves. Yet a lot of our students can't do that. Another way that we can redesign our classrooms and build motivation and engagement with students is with self-regulation. This is considered one of the most important domains of 21st century learning. Cognitive engagement includes self-regulation and strategic planning and reflection. Students are more motivated when they are allowed to have some self-directed and have choices in how they show what they know. Time and encouragement to reflect on personal progress and set goals also gives students control and choice and autonomy. In fact, automatically activated goals have been found to promote goal-directed action and produce behavioral persistence in the face of obstacles. Opportunities to reflect in writing also helps learning in a different way. We know that ADHD students struggle with self-regulation. In fact, that skill of executive functioning is one of the deficits of ADHD. And since this is a 21st learning skill that's needed, these students are at even more of a disadvantage. Since this executive functioning isn't internal for these students, we need to externally build their executive functioning by providing external scaffolding to that executive functioning of ADHD students. Studies have shown it increases more on-task behavior and motivation, and allows ADHD students to be more successful. Strong self-regulation skills allow students to also deal with success and failure and gives them a growth mindset, which we know is important for success. Another way that we can redesign the classroom to encourage engagement and motivation in ADHD students and in all students is with mindfulness. We know that ADHD students have a significant reduction in inattention and hyperactivity and impulsiveness symptoms when the children and their parents are trained in mindfulness. Recent research suggests that teaching mindfulness strategies actually might be the key to solving ADHD learning with executive function behaviors. This is the ability to identify our feelings and to articulate our emotions. This allows us not to be engulfed by our emotions so that we can deal with it, which we know is something that a lot of our ADHD students struggle with. Mindfulness predicted high levels of day-to-day self-regulation behavior for all of our students. There was a significant reduction in inattention and hyperactivity and impulsiveness in students when both parents and students were trained in mindfulness. And we already know that our ADHD students score lower on mindfulness than their peers. Another way that we can redesign the classroom to address engagement and motivation for ADHD students and all students is with novelty. Individuals with ADHD seek out novelty. And brain research shows that when students are having fun and doing something new and exciting, they seek out that experience over and over again. This fits with another one of Glasser's need of fun and change. And you can actually see how some novelty creates more interaction in the brain. Novelty also relieves tension and stress. It raises endorphins and sends oxygenated blood to the brain. It increases the immune system and creates episodic memories, which we know deepens learning. Finally, we can change the classroom with differentiation. No longer will a one-size-fits-all industrial model fit in today's classroom. Students need to be seen as a whole person and seen for their strengths and needs and value them for the different things that they have in their lives. Teachers can increase student success by addressing individual students' strengths and needs. When a student can work at their individual pace and the work is tailored to their strengths and needs, then they feel more success in the classroom. Teachers can also differentiate instruction by giving students choice, which creates engagement. One of the biggest things we need to do with not only our ADHD population, but with all of our population is reduce stress. ADHD is comorbid with anxiety and depression. By 50% of all ADHD students suffer from some type of anxiety and depression. When there is unmanageable stress, self-perseverance takes over and motivation is reduced and learning is minimized. Emotions such as anger and fear and sadness interfere with the learning activity in the brain. If this stress persists, the brain is under constant stress and information is blocked, and the brain can only focus on survival, not the learning at hand. I know from doing all of these redesigned strategies in my classroom that we can make these kids successful. And furthermore, research has shown a lot of kids with ADHD and other learning differences actually have a huge asset to give our society, as they have more grit and they can see things from different perspectives. So I know that we are going to try to redesign to match the needs of our students for the 21st century learning.